Hello and welcome to another episode of Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. In this playthrough, I messed around with trying to import my character from my last playthrough, the mage, and just kind of toyed around with the idea of maybe creating a whole party of this mage, and it seemed to work okay. The way that the game takes off, you just pretty much are dropped right there in Candlekeep, and they just pretty much give you the impression that you can just play the entire game over again from start. So that's what I attempted to do, but as I was making progress and going through the story, I realized that things are not quite right in terms of where the NPCs are. They are not in the places where they're supposed to be. So I tried it a couple different ways. I tried going back to at first I tried it with the party of 6 mages, and I went all the way to the Friendly Arm Inn, and I checked to see if College of Hero was there, but they weren't there. I also noticed that Monteron and Exvar were not there either. Those are the 2 NPCs that you meet on the way up to the Friendly Arm Inn, and so I thought, well, maybe it was because I needed to have Imoen with me, right? I was actually keeping her out of my party because I didn't want to drop any of my mages. So I went back and then I started a new party with the mage, and I saw that it was actually not the case. I went all the way through. I brought Imoen with me. I went to the Friendly Arm Inn, and I looked for College of Hero, and they weren't there. So for whatever reason, I don't know why. I think it had something to do with me importing my mage into using an imported character into the game world. But I can't really say for sure. So I decided to just go with a completely new character and a new playthrough. And I figured, since that this was going to be a fresh new character, that it would offer up some new additional gameplay, make it a lot more interesting, and I'd be able to play as a character that I usually don't play as. I decided to go with a half-orc female, and as I believe I chose lawful evil. Now I think that a big misnomer about whenever it comes to evil or good or neutral characters is that evil characters have a tendency to just go around and kill innocent people. It's not entirely true, although they do take certain risks against the law that good characters typically wouldn't take. Like, for instance, an evil character might see an opportunity to pick the lock in someone's room if they see that they're laying there sleeping in bed, or an evil character might even actually kill the person who is laying in bed. But the way that the game works is that it even considers, like, a greedy business person as an evil character, or somebody who is like an unscrupulous mercenary, somebody who doesn't really have beliefs, but it has a very thin line in regards to what they consider people, or consider situations that they might actually find a reason to be merciful. So let's see. Here I am. I'm just kind of clearing out every room on my first new game on my group of 6 mages, and I realized that this could this would not be very efficient, and eventually, since they're all humans, I would want them to dual class, and I would have like a mage fighter, and a mage thief, and a mage ranger, and a mage cleric, just so that I can have all the bases covered. But unfortunately, and I think that offered up very interesting gameplay scenarios, but unfortunately, without the key NPCs being present, I would never be able to make that sort of progress. So it's just it was. I think that's too bad. But I wonder if that's a game bug, or maybe I'd be able to continue. But I mean, without getting the quest to go to Nashkel in order to resolve the issue, then I wouldn't be able to get the quest or the quest experience. So that was part of my reason why I decided to just start a new character, and then that way, you know, enjoy the experiences all over again with a fresh start, I think is the next best thing. And at this part, this is when I was playing on Legacy of Val, and this is when I come across the first bounty hunter. His name is Tarnesh or Tarshan or something. And just look at the fear that he casts on my mage, as my mage is running around. Look how long it lasts. And I was surprised to see it go on for as long as it did. It was like, because this is Legacy of Baal mode, I think the difficulty, spell durations, as well as damage output by spells and physical damage, it all increases by like 200% at least, or maybe 300%. But it really goes on and on for a long time. So there's Pompey, and then he's just running around. You know, he's just he can't offer Imoen any sort of support whatsoever. He just goes on and on and on. I mean, it's the longest horror or fear, and I think I've ever had the displeasure of encountering. So I just decided that I'm just going to I'm going to sidestep Tarnesh, and I'm just going to walk in through the door with an invisibility spell, and then go straight to where Colin Jahira is, and you have but to ask. And unsurprisingly, they weren't there. I mean, to my dismay, they weren't there. You know, so even if I wanted to, I would not be able to continue the adventure with this mage in order to see what it would be like in order to gain my to get like level 15 or 20 on this mage, you know, just to continue the level progression. I was actually really looking forward to that. So what a disappointment. But anyway, at least I can start a new character, and that's what I'm going to do. So here I am at the character generation screen, and I'm making a choice. I'm wondering if whether or not I want to be male or female, and I chose male first. I wanted to see what sort of character portraits I had as a result of adding the Faces of Good and Evil DLC to my collection. And it looks like, you know, it really kind of spruces up my collection, you know, and I was kind of pleased with that. But I saw that I had it in mind that I wanted to play a half-orc, and there was that one, and it seemed kind of like an amateurish portrait, so I was looking for another one, and then there was the one that used for Dorn in the game. And I thought, well, if I use this one for Dorn, then that means Dorn will probably get that ugly one, or, you know, I just don't know what portrait Dorn was going to have, because I actually intended to play with Dorn in my party, you know, being a half-orc and all. So I decided, well, I guess I will just go with a female character then, you know, because, I mean, I haven't seen those portraits yet, and I haven't played with any of the I haven't played a female character in yet, so I figured, what the heck, I might as well, you know. Wasn't going to choose the drow, you know. I knew that she was a drow, and so they have a very specific tone for their skin. And then I didn't want to play the goblin, and the goblins usually have like really scarred faces, and like, you know, they're not very symmetrical either, so no goblin portrait for me. And I was just going to go with, you know, the most decent and even looking female character portrait that I could find, and it was that one. So and I did, and half-orc. So part of the reason why I decided to go with a half-orc is because I know that there are a couple things that they can get, which is the Grand Mastery of 5 slots, and they also hit with the D10. They can use any armor weapon, so they have a large degree of flexibility. And But I did take a look at the other warrior subclasses, and Wizard Slayer and Kensai, Barbarian, Berserker. You know, they all seem to have their pros and cons, but mainly cons compared to pros. Although I almost went Barbarian, but the reason why I didn't is because of the I don't think that they can be grandmasters for any of the weapon types. So yeah, may not exceed a specialization of 2 slots. You know, that's a huge minus in my opinion. So, but there was also the Wizard Slayer. But you know, the Wizard Slayer's big minus was that they would not be able to equip magical items besides your chest piece and your weapon. So that would mean like magical cloaks or rings or helms. They would not be able to equip those. That's what it sounded like to me. Here I am with killing some rats for that quest back in Candlekeep. I just kind of jumped forward and I went to the next exciting part about the prologue, is when you encounter another bounty hunter. This is actually the second bounty hunter. How do 2 bounty hunters get inside Candlekeep? This is supposed to be a fortress with really strict security. So anyway, he's no match for my girl. And here comes somebody who wants to talk to me about the incident. I think it's kind of interesting how as soon as I get done getting jumped by one of these guys, that one of the tutors will come and talk to me about it. And this is how I wound up getting the achievement for all of my lessons in Candlekeep, is I talked to every single tutor and asked and went through every single dialogue option.
Don't worry about me.
I'm very proud of you.
So without much further ado, I just headed over to Gorion and immediately set out for the adventure.
Listen carefully. If we ever become separate.
So here we are. We have Gorion face to face with Saravok. He tells me to run, child, run, while he takes on Saravok and his army, his group. And he does pretty good by himself, you know, except for when that priest casts his breach, I guess, and removes all of his magic invulnerabilities, and then Saravok can finish him off with just a flick of his wrist. And that begins chapter 1.
Hey, it's me,
I've got this.
Evelyn.
So here's Monron and X-Bar. I know in my previous playthrough with Pompeii, I actually read through all of the dialogue, but I'm not going to do that this playthrough. I'm just going to focus on getting the content done quickly. But what I will focus on is the combat, like the tricky boss fights or other tricky locations that you might encounter in any specific dungeon or wherever.
What do you need? Don't worry about me.
Oh, there, wanderer. Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
You want it? You've got it.
Oh, How long must we wait here? Things stir to the south as we sit.
Tell me.
You must gather your
You
party
want it?
before
Don't worry about me.
So at this point, I thought that maybe, since Monorin died after I did some adventuring, I might be able to pick up Dorn. But when I went to go talk to him, he was not in a very conversational mood. In fact, he rebuked me in the rudest manner possible. So I didn't really have a choice. I had to spend 100 gold in order to have Monoran resurrected. And he's a fighter thief, so he really shouldn't be in melee range of any enemies anyway.
Stop touching me!
You're a queer.
This way.
Tell me. Don't worry about me.
You funny looking.
I've got this.
Nice house. I wonder what's inside.
Hey, you.
This is where I meet Nira.
I don't see anybody else around here. A little help, please.
You, hey you.
There's bandits.
You.
Vicious,
These bandits, vicious magic bandits, and they have gone to advanced bandit school or something. They're trying to capture me.
Trying to capture me.
Very well, I shall defend you from these bandits. My hero. Now, where are the rest of my men hiding? Of your men hiding? I'll be honest, I was betting you have a legion of soldiers because you'll need it. And oh goodness, they're here. So you would hide from us behind this unfortunate fool. Your cowardice proves as you are. As deadly as your
You're the one
reckless
trying to
magic.
capture me. And I still don't know what you want. so I'd rather not let it happen. Get out of here before me and my new friends decide to eject a fist into your mouth.
You there. Stand aside and give me the girl. Surely you won't risk your life for a stranger. By my right as a wizard of Fae, we must study her anomalous power, whether or not she comes willingly. I shouldn't be surprised that one as uneducated as you cannot spot a wild mage when you see
I shouldn't be surprised that one as uneducated as you cannot spot a wild mage when you see one. Her spells cause more harm than good. We must extract her secrets, of course, prevent her from harming herself or others.
you wish to die for this wild...
Away with
I'd
you.
hate to say
That
it,
is
but the
free.
Red Wizard of Thay is actually right. More on that later.
What do you need?
Let her escape. Slaughter them all. We'll sort this out once we find him.
So battle ensues, and these mighty Red Wizards of Thay aren't really all that hard at this level. I held my breath there for a second. I thought Gollard was going to die. And this is where I recruit Nira.
I didn't want to involve you, but if I hadn't run into you when I did, they'd be elbow deep in my brains right now. Since you were kind enough to save me from those wizardly thugs, I was wondering if I could stay with you for a while. Fantastic! Let me just get my... well, nothing. I'm ready to go now.
Tell me. Give it to me straight. You want it? You got it.
I care not.
Uh-huh.
Cities are always so intimidating.
You're a queer fellow.
So many people. You have need of me?
What do you need?
What is it this time? Uh-huh. You rang?
Tell me. Don't worry about me.
Oh, I'm getting a little sleepy.
Don't worry about me.
Me timber's bad enough.
Yes? I got some cheap beer for you.
Yes?
You want it? You got it. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me.
All this traveling, all this adventure, how do you manage it? Until now, I was barely able to keep my head above water. Yet here with you, it seems almost easy. Oh, well, yes, there's obviously that. I just meant that ordinary things are easier. I'm not constantly worried where my next meal is coming from, or whether a kobold will sneak up and slit my throat as I sleep. Yes, rocks for a pillow, eating clay, all that and more. My fortune seems to have come in waves. Has ever since High Forest. That's me. Born and raised in the thicket. At least until my mistakes piled up high enough to come crashing down on me. You know, this and that. I was never a very good student of magic, and part of that could be attributed to never studying. I ended up flubbing a few spells, and here I am. A maiming or two, if you don't count the second-degree burns. Completely accidental, and everybody lived. Well, at least I'm pretty sure everybody lived. You really know how to get someone to open up. Why, yes, let me just share intimate details about my past. You put me right at ease. During our magical training, we were supposed to summon a sphere of fire. And mine got away from me somehow. One moment I was concentrating, the next moment my classmates were rolling on the floor screaming. Of course I can blame myself. Accident or not, I should have been more careful. I could have taken responsibility or at least fetched a bucket of water. Instead, I ran away, terrified of what I'd done. I took to wandering High Forest, but I kept running into the wrong people and doing the wrong thing. Eventually, Turlang the tree and grabbed me and said, "Take a hike." Well, maybe not in those words exactly. And so I left High Forest. I've been wandering for a while now. I've got a few ideas for a destination, but I'm still considering them. Come, let us continue this journey together.
Don't worry about me.
Uh-huh.
Give it to me. Don't worry about me. What do you need?
For the glory of Helm!
What you want?
What is it this time?
You've attacked. Yep. I'm gone.
With your hurried flight from Candlekeep barely behind you,
You want it? You've got it.
Stand away, citizen!
Eyes been getting prickly on my eyes.
For the glory of Arm!
Oh, you have returned, and so soon. Dealing with criminals jades a man's soul. Dealing with criminals jades a man's soul. Dealing with criminals jades a man's soul.
you have been waylaid by enemies and must defend yourself.
Hail and well traveler. Well, that's the nicest thing anyone's called.
We should kill that one last, Senjak. Such good manners.
No, there's no reason for this to turn violent. Hand over your belongings and you may...
You should listen to Senjak, friend. Perhaps you've noticed our associates who are even now aiming their arrows at your...
Now then, empty your pockets. What's going on back there? This is impossible.
Sanjak, Dorothea, I swore I would crush the life out of you someday. Today is that day.
Dorn, you should be dead or rotting in a Luskan prison. How did you find us?
I'm happy to see you, Dorn. Leaving you behind to take the blame was all Simeon's idea. He's the one you want, not us.
Just following orders is a coward's excuse, Dorothy. And I haven't forgotten what you said when I refused your advances.
What advances? She would never consort with a half-orc, especially when she has me. Change, Dorn. You're as stupid as you're ugly. Tell him, Dorothy.
Senjak was the first to agree with Simeon. He always hated you. But you know, I didn't feel the same way.
Tia, what did you say? Yes, of course. The half-breed.
You are both mewling cowards, turning on each other as easily as you turned on me. Half your men are already dead.
It didn't have to be this way. We've beaten you before, Dorn. We'll do it again. Attack! Give it to me straight.
Yes, omnipresent. You've attacked. You're a queer fellow. What you want? Eat flaming! Or, possibly...
What do you need? Tell me. Give it to me straight. What do you need?
Yep.
You handle yourselves well enough. As a rule, I do not rely on those who fight beside me. Perhaps you may be an exception. My name is Dorn Ilkar. I was settling an old score. I've been hunting those two for almost a year. That's two down and two to go. My powers are none of your concern, unless you're looking for a strong arm. I've heard of your progress. Traveling with you might help my vendetta and my powers concern. My former companions betrayed me and left me to rot in the Luskan. I've spent the last year tracking them down. After Senjak and Dorothea, there were two left. Very wise. We shall cut a bloody swath across the sword coast.
For I might honor this way. 'Tis shameful.
You want it? You got it.
So you want to take a look at me mine, do you?
Stand away, citizen! You must gather your party before venturing forth.
I've got this.
So I didn't spend too much time clearing from wall to wall in Nashkel Mines. I just focused on speed and trying to clear it as quickly as possible. In this particular group makeup, I've got 4 warriors and 2 ranged. Nira is a mage and Imowen is a ranger, or a thief that substitutes as a ranger.
Oh, I'm so tired. I think I'm coughing up blood.
Alright, I'm just grabbing the quests. I think there's only 2 side quests besides killing Mullahay.
I think I'm coughing up blood.
No, it's just one quest. It's just giving Kylie his dagger.
Tell me. Don't worry about me.
You must gather your party before
You want it? You've got it.
Eat flaming! Or, possibly frosty. My blade will cut you down to size. What you want?
Give it to me straight.
Stand away, citizen! Stand away, citizen!
So dark down here.
Tell me. You want it? You've got it.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
I've got this.
It's important to note that when you're in this area, you have to watch out for traps. But Imowen's trap finding ability isn't going to be high enough in order to detect every trap in the area. So it's okay to take one of your warriors and go ahead and run them through where you think the traps are at, just to set them off, and your warriors will be able to eat the damage. But make sure that your warrior has a full shield, not a medium shield or a small shield. It needs to have a full shield because they'll be able to get the maximum amount of defensive bonus for missile weapons such as arrows with a full shield, and they'll be able to survive the traps that way too.
What is it this time?
This is one of the places where Nira actually proves herself to be a bad mage. As you can see there, I had her cast a magic missile, and what she wound up casting instead was a fireball. And even though it killed all of the enemies, it also killed half of my party, and myself included. So that happened the first time, and I thought, well, I'll just hold on to her if it doesn't happen all that often. But it happens consistently with her. So here we go, same party, and I'm coming to approach. I have Nira cast a spell. I want her to cast magic missile again, and what she casts instead, I don't even know, but it does some sort of ability to random party members as well as my enemies. So I don't know if it was like a beneficial ability, if it was a buff or a debuff or what. I have no idea. But and I have no idea if whether or not it actually helped me to defeat these kobolds. But all in all, they haven't been all that difficult to defeat. So just the mere fact that she's casting abilities. I have her cast one spell, but she's casting a different one, and I can't have that. You know, you have to have a reliable mage. This is where I do something foolish, and you should not do this with your ranged. Unless if they can maintain a armor class of 0, because that's what it takes in order to avoid being hit by these arrows. But your Thaco isn't going to be low enough in order to hit these kobolds that are ranged. So I thought I would be safe in order to go out and attack these kobolds, because that one ran across the bridge. But it would have been wiser to say that I should have stuck to the left side of that bridge, because that was probably a dead spot for the trap. But what I did instead was that I brought out Imoen and I put her out front, and then I had her try to hit the kobolds at range. But their Thaco is actually better than my armor class. So as a result, they wound up killing Imoen. Well, that one didn't, but the other one does. Oh. There she goes down. So what I do instead is that I just grab my party and I run across the bridge, and I'm triggering all the traps while I'm doing it. But at the same time, I realize, well, the damage is on a 1d6, you know, and my party, they're strong enough, they can eat that damage. So that would have been the smart way to handle that, is just to send them across the bridge. Well, I realized that I made a big mistake, and it's going to require me to go all the way back to Nashkel to resurrect Imoen. So I decided to just go ahead and clear around with my party before I got to the next tricky spot.
This will not be a quick death.
Flaming! Possibly frosty. Death!
What do you need? I've got this.
I've done had enough of this.
So I'm having Imoen right now run up and get a bow, because when I went back to Nashkel and had her resurrected, I forgot to pick one up for her. So now when I do this challenge, you might notice that I've actually swapped the armor around. I've given Khalid the full plate, and because he doesn't have the full shield. So, but Helena has the full shield, and effectively this armor swap causes both of their armor classes to go to 0. And then at armor class 0, I've noticed that they have a much lesser tendency to be struck by arrows. Oh. But in the event that you do get struck by an arrow, you know, reload, as I think that you can RNG your way through it, or do like I did there with Helena and just run her across, because she has the full shield, and Khalid just doesn't have that the armor class resistance against arrows as a result of him having a medium shield. Here I am having to deal with some traps before I go to the next level, and I'm just running my warrior through it. Hopefully I'm hoping that's going to be enough in order to progress to the next level. But I mean, in this game you kind of have to do things properly. You have to use your thief in order to deactivate traps, or use a mage, because mages are better for it. They have the knock ability as well as stone skin, so they can absorb trap damage much better than some trap damage better than a warrior can. But a warrior is pretty much like your third pick whenever it comes to a trap problem.
You want it? You got it.
My blade will cut you down to size.
So here my warriors are still under the effects of the oil of speed, so I'm just going to run them across there and hopefully get to those kobolds before they shoot too many fire arrows at me. And it looks like I'm successful, so nobody dies as a result, and I can just move on to Mulahay's cave there.
What you want?
Give it to me straight.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
I've got this.
Oh, my heart's really not in this.
This will not be a quick death. What? How'd you get in here?
So, on the Molahay fight, the best way that I found to do it was to have Zan quickly go over to the chest behind Molahay and grab all of his stuff. And in that collection, there's a charm spell. And the nice thing about kobolds is that they are very susceptible to charm. So I had Zan go ahead and memorize 2 charm spells on top of the charm spell that he gets from the chest, and he uses all 3 of those in order to and I use all 3 of those in order to be victorious in this fight. And here I am, I'm actually taking the time in the middle of a fight to learn all this magic. Well, it doesn't even matter right now, but... And I dropped Nira in favor of Zan, and, you know, it's just because he's a much more reliable spellcaster. You know, he might have the charisma of the donkey Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. He's a very depressing person to listen to and work with, but I mean, he's at least he whenever he casts a magic missile, it's going to be a magic missile, and it's not going to be a fireball, you know, that gets your entire party killed. And I suppose that there could have been another way to do it, using the sleep scroll, rather than writing the magic to the mage book, just have Zan cast it right away. And I believe that it would have worked only on the enemies, but I didn't experiment with it. So the only one that I experimented with was Charm. And I realized, you know, just 2 or 3 kobolds switching sides, and especially if you have a scenario where Dorn, who has a strength of like 19, and my warrior Helena has a strength of 19, can hit him, like get a couple of critical strikes on him back to back, then he panics and he just runs around the room. So effectively, it just takes him out of combat.
What do you need?
So something that is something to be said about Zan is his gear. It's pretty amazing. He has that sword. It's actually not a sword, it's a dagger, but it has this blue flame. So it looks really cool and awesome and everything, but the only problem is that Zan is the only one who's allowed to use it. And but it does 1d8 damage, so the same as a longsword, and it has a +3 Thaco. So he has a higher Thaco, a really high Thaco for a mage. You check out his proficiency, and he only has 1 for a dagger. So all in all, that means that he just has a +4 to his Thaco with his weapon plus his proficiency, and then which basically means that he is average for his Thaco. It's, you know, he's not, because of that sword, it doesn't mean that he's as good as a warrior. It's he's just average. And that's the problem with Zen is that his gear makes him look pretty fantastic. But whenever you take a look at the numbers, it's like, wow, you know, you're not really all that great. All right, and that wraps it up for this week. Please be sure to tune in next week for a couple more chapters. Hit like, that'll help me out, and subscribe if you want to be notified. I'm just going to let the video play out. If you want to continue watching it, it's just going to be the Rasad introduction, as well as another bounty hunter who tries to kill me. And I think there's a dream sequence in there that also marks the start of chapter 3. But there's also Khalid. I believe he's going to wind up dying. So I have to bring him over to the priest. I'm going to have him resurrected. At the same time, I'm going to have a lot of items identified at the healer.
Give it to me. I've got.
Feel free to watch. Enjoy.
What you want? I cannot.
What do you need? I've got this. Tell me. I've got this.
It may be a touch unladylike, but I'm gonna slit your throat, I am.
Go, go, go!
Be direct.
You're a queer fellow.
Servant awaits.
Good as done.
It shall be even stronger than you hoped.
Blasted Khalid! You die. I swear you'll never hear the end of it. You've a task?
Be direct.
What you want?
Speak, try to keep up.
Give it to me. You want it? You've got it. What do you need? Don't worry about me. I've got this.
I will show you justice.
Don't worry about me.
Helm watch over thee upon thy quest. Our quest is vain.
Tell me. Give it to me straight. I've got this.
Watch over thee upon thy quest.
What do you need?
You must gather your party before venturing
I've got
forth.
this. Don't worry about me.
If none are better. You have need of me?
Tell me. Don't worry about me.
No, sorry.
Don't worry about me.
Business
want
has
it?
been
You've got
poor,
it.
what with the iron shortage and all. Welcome to my humble establishment.
Nature's servant awaits. You've
Give it to me straight. I've
The
got
customer
this.
is always right. My prices are the best south of Waterdeep.
Yep. Do you want to tell me a story about trollops and plugtails, please?
Tell me. Give it to me straight. Don't worry about me. I've got this.
Life's been getting prickly.